everyone, welcome to my channel. So previously I made a video going over some tips and tricks that the game just straight up doesn't tell you, and a lot of you guys really seem to enjoy that, so today I'm going to be doing a part 2. So if you're new here, be sure to go back and check out my first video, because there's a lot of tips in this video that I sort of build off of from the previous video. And there are a lot of tips to go over in today's video, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So to start off our video today, the very first tip I have for you all is that you can actually repair and re-roll your weapons. Now this is something that everyone wanted in Breath of the Wild, but unfortunately you just couldn't do it. Now luckily in Tears of the Kingdom we can now repair our favorite weapons. So to do this, we're going to want to go northeast up to Goron City. Now this location is up in the mountains. It is a little bit difficult to get to early on, but once we get to Goron City, you want to go a little bit north of the city up to this location I'm showing right now. And over here, you're going to find yourself an Octo Rock. Now a new feature that has come to Tears of the Kingdom is that with these Octo Rocks, if you drop any weapon or shield in front of the Octo Rock and then run away from it, it will suck in the weapon and then shoot it back out, being fully repaired. So if you have a favorite shield or sword or bow and you really want it to be repaired, drop it in front of him and he will repair it for you. But that is not the only thing this guy does. He can actually re-roll your weapons. So say you have a favorite weapon and it doesn't necessarily need repaired, you can drop it in front of him, he will shoot it back at you, and it will have different stats than it did before. So if you want to exploit it, you can just save the game before you drop your weapon in front of him, and then once he spits it back out, if you don't like the stats, you can just load your game and try again. So for example, I did this for one of my weapons, and it gave me some stats that I just wasn't too fond of. So I just reloaded my save and tried it again, and then he spit it back out having over double the attack power that it had, giving it attack up +4, which was by far the most powerful weapon that I've come across so far in my playthrough. So using the Octo Rock up here is definitely something you're going to want to take advantage of. But do keep in mind he can only do this once per Blood Moon cycle. You only get one shot at this until the next Blood Moon rolls around, because once a Blood Moon comes out, it will reset all of the enemies in the entire game. So you only get one shot at this per Blood Moon, so you better choose wisely. So the next big tip I have for you guys is a bit of a money exploit. Now I know some people aren't a fan of exploits, but to each their own, everyone can play the game the way they want to. I'm just going to show you guys a really good way to make money, and if you don't want to do it, then you don't have to. But this is a bit of an exploit. You're going to be doing a lot of saving and reloading. So for this location, it's the northmost location in the map, up at the Typhlo Ruins Skyview Tower. We're going to be heading a little bit east of this tower. There's also a shrine nearby in this area you could go to as well, but we're going to be going to this little cooking pot that I have placed on the map. So once we get to this area, we want to find the goblin riding the bear. Now the most important thing we want to do here is kill the bear and leave the rider alive. You can't kill the rider, because if you kill the rider, it registers that the enemy has been defeated. But if you only kill the bear, then if you reload your save, then the bear will respawn. So what we want to do is shoot the bear in the face, harvest the bear's resources, save the game, but remember, keep the rider alive, and then load your save, and then just re-kill the bear. And then just wash, rinse, repeat. And if you do this over and over, you're going to be getting a lot of raw prime meat. And if you're lucky, you'll be getting a couple raw gourmet meats as well. Then once you collect enough meats, you just go and cook all of the meats together. It will make a meat skewer, and then these will be worth a pretty penny when you go to sell them. If you cook all 5 gourmet meats together at once, it looks like it can be sold for 315 rupees. So that is a really quick way to get rich fast in Tears of the Kingdom. So next up, I'm going to show you guys how to get one of the best horses in the entire game, the golden horse that belongs to Zelda. This horse not only looks really cool because it's a nice gold, but it also comes with some really good stats, and your bond is already going to be really high with this horse as soon as you get it. Now to get this horse, it's actually pretty simple, but it is going to be a bit of a journey. Now you're going to want to go northwest on your map, clear up here in this top region, and you want to go to the Snowfield stable. Now when you get up here, there's going to be a girl that's upset because Zelda's horse went missing, and she tells you that it ran off into the fields up to the north. So all you have to do is head north and keep going north until you come across a group of horses. Then you just treat it like you're taming any other horse, and you sneak up really quietly and slowly up behind it, mount it as soon as it gives you the option, and then be sure to spam the L button when you get on it, that way you can tame it really quickly. Then just ride it back to the stables and talk to the girl again, and then they will let you keep the horse along with some new cosmetics, and then you can register the horse with the guy at the front desk. And that is how you find one of the best horses in Tears of the Kingdom. So this next tip is going to be really handy for those of you that are at the beginning to mid game, and it has to do with the gliders. Now the biggest issue with the gliders is that they're on a time limit. As soon as you get on the glider and it starts to fly, it's going to be on a timer, and then it's going to start glowing green and it's going to disappear. So obviously this sucks, especially if the glider doesn't reach your destination and you have to jump early. But to avoid this and essentially double the time of your glider, what you can do is actually pick up a second glider as you're about to take off on the first glider and carry it while you're in the air. So as you're about to launch your first glider, pick up the second glider with Ultra Hand, and then as you're in the air, right as your first glider is about to start blinking, attach the second glider to the nose of the first glider, and then you can hop from the blinking glider to the new glider. The first glider will disappear, and then you essentially have a fresh new timer for the second glider. So this tip is really great early game if there's somewhere you need to reach that's really far away. So next up, I want to give you guys a couple tips for using your shield. If you attach a glider to a shield, and then you do the shield jump maneuver, which is the same buttons if you're going to do shield surfing, then it will give you a boosted jump that gives you a couple more seconds of airtime. So to do this, you want to be walking forward, hold in LZ, which is the block button, hit X to jump, and then while you're in midair, hit the A button. And this will give you a little jump forward and give you some extra height. But if you do this with a glider attached to your shield, it will get you a couple more feet off the ground, which you can then activate the bullet time mode with your bow, slowing down time to get those perfect shots off. But if you don't want to put a glider on your shield, what I think is even more fun is if you put a bomb flower on your shield and then do the same jump maneuver. The bomb flower will explode, launching you into the air, giving you the perfect opportunity to slow down time and get nothing but headshots. So the next tip is a really quick one, but if you're in the middle of the air and you're completely out of stamina, you can actually hit the glide button at the last possible second to pull out the glider and break your fall. Next up, if you ever need a quick burst up into the air, you can throw some spicy peppers into a campfire and it will create a strong updraft. So the next tip I'm including because I couldn't figure out what to do here for the longest time, but in your travels, you're going to come across this person named Addison. Now Addison is going to be holding up these signs throughout the entire map. So what you want to do here is prop up the sign for him using the nearby materials, and then you want to tell him to let go, but make sure that the sign is propped up. And normally he'll give you some good food to eat or some rupees. And then the next tip is that you can take any type of meat and attach it to your bow and then shoot it near some enemies to distract them. And then another tip is that if you have two different factions of enemies, if you coax them close enough to each other, they will actually start fighting each other. So if you see two groups of enemies, just shoot some meat in the middle of the two groups and then watch the chaos happen. And then if you want enemies to fight amongst themselves, you want to attach the Muddle Blood flower to your bow and just shoot it into a group of enemies, and then they will get confused and start attacking each other. Now if you do this, you want to make sure you shoot the most powerful enemy first, or the archers. The archers are really good at doing a ton of damage. So next up, while you're exploring the depths underground, if you're trying to drive around with a vehicle, one thing you can do to light up the area is stick some flashlights in the front, and they will work as high beams. But what I found that works best is the giant bright bloom seeds. Just attach some giant bright blooms to your vehicle, and your entire vehicle will light up the area around you. So the next tip is for anything that requires battery power. If you're driving a vehicle of some sort and you're getting low on battery, just go into your inventory and activate one of your Zonai charges. Each Zonai charge will give you one block of battery, but if you use a large Zonai charge, it will refill an entire battery block and make your battery overcharged for a couple of seconds. Think of it as the same way as your stamina meter. If you got really low on stamina and you were about to fall to your death, you would pull something out to eat to refill your stamina. Well, this is the same way. If you're getting low on batteries and you need some extra juice in a quick pinch, just activate some of your Zonai charges. And then the final tip that I have for you guys in today's video is to take advantage of the gemstones. Now, for the longest time, I was hoarding all my gemstones because I never knew when I was going to need them. I thought maybe I would just sell them for a big profit. But the gemstones are actually really handy at creating some of the best weapons in the game. They can take something ordinary and turn it into something extraordinary. So for example, if you attach sapphire to a weapon, it will then shoot out ice attacks, instantly freezing enemies that you hit with it, which is a huge help in combat. If you fuse a weapon with topaz, it will do electric damage, and hitting enemies with electricity will cause them to drop their weapons. And then if you fuse a weapon with ruby, it will shoot out fireballs. And then for water attacks, just fuse your weapon with opal. And then finally, if you want to fuse your weapon with a diamond, your swings will be a lot faster and they will hit a lot harder. This makes your weapons extremely sharp and they can cut down things such as trees in 1 to 2 hits. So those are all the tips I have for you guys in today's video. If any of the tips in today's video helped you out, then please hit that thumbs up button. It's greatly appreciated. Hit the subscribe button, that way you guys don't miss out on any future Tears of the Kingdom videos. And that is going to do it for me, everyone, and I will talk to you all in my next video.